Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, members and guests. My name is Joe Pan, journalist governor of FCC, and we're delighted to have you today, and especially with two outstanding guests to talk about topics that seldom covered in our repertoire, but the evolving role of Hong Kong in contemporary art, and given the fact that Hong Kong has been known as an art hub, and this is a very relevant topic today. But today we want to start with my main story, and then we're going to get into the story behind the main story. And the main story, of course, number one, for those who have seen our main launch, you will see on the wall the exhibition of the King of Kowloon. For those who have been in Hong Kong, either a native or have been here long enough, you would know who is King of Kowloon. If not, you will learn all about it today. And the story behind this is also the person who curated this exhibition downstairs. And we're going to talk a lot more and find out a lot more about the story behind the story. And of course, we have another local curator joining us and talk about from her perspective the evolving role and in what she has seen and experienced in the past 20 years as a curator here in Hong Kong, in the region, or globally. So with that, I'm not going to get into very specifics about reading just the bio of both. I hope you guys already seen it, but I do want to point out that we have Willie here, who is quite an accomplished, not only an author, a storyteller, but also a curator and an artist himself. So he cut his teeth by following one of the greatest master of all in Japan, Mr. Kitahara. And we're going to come back to it, why that first mentor means so much to him later. And with that, I'm going to go into a bit about also Hillary. We mentioned her track record, but she just returned from a long trip in Europe, talking about a local curator going outside of Hong Kong. Hope you're going to recover from your jet lag and won't fall into sleep, but we're going to have her to share a bit more. But first, the Hong Kong legend. King of Kowloon, for many of the people who have seen the artwork and that hasn't been covered or hasn't been taken down, this is someone is almost very much like a neighbor or someone just walking down the street, and to the worst view of it, it's just a deranged old man doing graffiti. But here you have the artwork of one of the representatives of the street artists of Hong Kong, who represent some of the greatest art show, including the immediate past, or 2 years ago now, Art Basel in Hong Kong, and also went on to represent Hong Kong as the art exhibitions in Venice, the Bicentennial Art Show, and that is a big deal. And then, of course, you have seen some of those pictures, and you also have seen their artwork. In case you have not, I would really invite you and challenge you to find those artwork on the streets. They are all over Hong Kong, including some here in central area. Of course, there is beyond the graffiti, beyond the street artwork, there are also an anthology of his body of works that he did calligraphy, and there is also specific things that we're going to cover, and this is where we bring to the explanation. What exactly is those Chinese characters? What exactly are those graffiti? Why is someone who had dedicated 40 years of his life on a daily basis, rain or shine, pouring rains like today, would go out on the street and doing the graffiti work? So I would like to now give the floor to Willie, and by starting asking some questions, obviously you have written 5 books on the work of King of Kowloon. For him, it means a lot to you, and some of the books are actually still available. Yep. And I know you're going to be making a film about the King of Kowloon, and in private conversation I learned he's already identified a very good director and will be making a film out of this. And there is also the auctions, the works of Kowloon King, and there are a total of 500 original artwork that you amass under your collection. So let's go from the very first question. What does Kowloon King mean to you? What's the relation? How did you come to today?
So, okay, I would like to say good day to everyone. and enjoy a good lunch. So, talking about the King of Kowloon, the action of and the work, the artwork, is very fascinating to me in the past more than 25 years. So I've always wondered why he doing so committed and loyal for this thing, especially in the public space. So that's why a lot of the Hong Kong citizens maybe know his title or his story in the past about 15 to 20 years. So I always have one question: what his purpose to doing the calligraphy in the public space, especially in Hong Kong? Only the Lantau Island, he never gone. So the whole district in New Territories, Kowloon side, and the Hong Kong side, almost is fully covered by his calligraphy in more than 45 years in Hong Kong. So that's become a legend in the world, not just in Hong Kong. So many of us, including myself, didn't fully appreciate and understanding his action and his artwork in the past. So it was only after he passed in 2007, suddenly, at least for me, it's really very suddenly news for me at that time. So that's, I decided to explore the many writing, just as Joe Pan said, I got 500 physical manuscript of King of Kowloon. So I would like to find out the story behind and uncover. Uncle Choi behavior and artworks have generally influenced me. I'm dedicated to pursuing what might seem unconventional to others, sharing the true story of the King of Kowloon. I think this is one of my roles. So whether through books, exhibition, and now I'm writing some movie, the film script, and whatever I can do in the future. So not just what I did in the past. So up to this moment, I already have did five different publishing. For each new publishing, I try to use the new perspective and the new angle to try to connect the history, not just mainland China and Hong Kong. Actually, it connects to the global. So I learned a lot when I was doing every new publishing. So my objective.
Let me pause a second. On the screen, we have some of the news reporting of you and the king.
Yeah.
And obviously, there is relations, very close relations during his last days, including what span of 15 years that you actually were visiting him, providing a lot of necessary stuff for him. And tell us, how did you become so close to him?
Oh, okay. I met Uncle Choi. Actually, it's coincidentally in a living room, one of the afternoon. I just saw a crowd of people surrounding and looking for something. So I very interested what the people they are looking for. So I saw an old man. This is Uncle Choi. At that time, it's the summertime. He didn't wear the top, just a scarf on his leg. And then he sit on a garbage bin in the living room, and then he just started writing on the traffic light control box just across in the living room. So I was so interested because before that, before this scenes, actually I recognized a lot of this kind of Chinese calligraphy. He is not using the traditional Chinese character. And not the people before described he was some distinct Chinese character. That is our very original and raw Chinese character in our Chinese culture, but nobody knows it. So I was keep watching his action. So I ignore everything, ignore the time, ignore the people in and out. More than 45 minutes is gone. So I saw him to finish the traffic light control box, and then he tried to left, and then he go to the bus stop. So I go ahead. I would like to
You
say.
follow him.
Yeah, I follow him. I go ahead. I would like to being with you to your home. So actually, he said no, but I still stand beside with him. Up to the bus came, and he go into the bus, and then he passed him a baggage for me. So that what mean? It means he allowed me to being with him. So I met him is very coincidentally. So afterward, I take care his life more than 17 years. I go to visit him actually at least one time weekly. Sometimes it's twice bi-weekly. I will go to buy some stuff, traditional Chinese brush, Indian paper, ink, and of course his lunch and dinner. Yeah, and sometimes I will being with him go to the public space, and I just keep observe his action. So that's it.
So thank you for sharing that personal story. From there on, for all the details in it, hopefully we'll see more in the film that you'll make and about the story behind it. It's going to be a classic movie, I can tell right now. However, from there on, after he passed away, 2007, this is the first, is that one of the first books you have written?
Yeah.
The Art of Treason. You know, the term's quite sensitive nowadays, but however, we want to know why that title and what did it all take to write the book, and tell us about the process.
Okay, just a marketing process to make the noise. So of course, this book is a very special meaning for me, because when I was doing this book in 2007 in July, actually Uncle Choi is still there. The last time I met him, it is in the hospital. So at the last time I met Uncle Choi in the Kuntong hospital, I just told him, your publishing is more soon is going to publish, just 10 days after. So I've never thought about he will gone so suddenly. So I heard the news from the press and the media. He made a phone call to me to verify, is this Uncle Choi is gone? I just answered that, I don't think so, because I just met him 10 days before. He kept very wealthy and healthy at that time. So this is a very, very special meaning, while some of the special meaning, because the day and the time when I go to push my button to the printing house, actually the day is 2007, July 15, the early morning, 2 o'clock.
The time and date of
Yeah, why so special? I never know. After 10 days, I heard the news from the hospital and the press media. This is the actual time he passed away.
So fast forward, you have worked on some of the book, but going back to the title, there is actually some relevancy there. What exactly was what is he writing? What is he really writing and painting on the light box? Can you tell in summary what exactly his school of thought, if there's such thing?
Okay, so I think this is a very good question. For the past, I think I'm quite sure, even though up to this moment right now, a lot of people still don't understood what he was writing. And also the content, because you say, most of our people say can saw his work just only in the public space. For the flyover, the lamp post, and even though the traffic light control box, this is a very limited area and with a limited space. So he just only can left just limited content on top of it. So make many people to misunderstood his action. So I want to ensure why he was doing this thing, this action, not just only in the public. So that's why I got 500 his physical manuscript writing. This is not done in the public space. which is he did it in his house every day when he woke up, he kept writing. And even though, and when he gone to the nursing house with 4 years, also he keep writing inside the nursing house. And the title, of course, I say this is just a marketing terms. I would like to make some noise at that time because in 2007, I have no idea. I didn't do any research. I just very pure want to make some record being me and Uncle Choi. Just a visual diary.
So you went on to publish subsequent books to explain more. Do you feel the public, at least the Hong Kong people, understand now to some extent what exactly is he writing? Again, going back to my question, school of thought, is there such thing?
I think the years before I did the exhibition in Art Basel, that is a very good time to let more people to know the true story behind Uncle Choi. Because at that time, we are not just only display the physical artwork. I trained up a lot of few dozen guys to explain the story with each work in the Art Basel what we show up. So this is a very important time to tell the people and all the visitors the true story, to know more about his passion and also why he did it. This is very, very important to us and to the world. Because the statement for an artist is very important. He is not doing, in the past, a lot of people, especially in the media, will describe him as a messy guy or some crazy guy doing some silly thing only. Maybe I'm one of the silly guys because I keep doing some silly things, just keep doing research and study and to try to find out the true story behind Uncle Choi.
So I would say, if I may summarize some of it's actually he is making some statements.
Yep.
And he, from the very beginning, he was critical of imperialism.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's part of it. If you didn't want to say that, I'll just say that. So you went on to, I want to point to the screen. You actually have done some collaborative work with him,
Yeah.
and actually did some of the stuff. But beyond that, you actually taught and continue to train up the next generation of artists to make sure the work of the King of Kowloon continue.
Yeah.
Continue. So tell us what you're thinking and what some of the work and what have you done, what have you told the students?
Okay, I remember I created one of the most successful exhibition, which is in artistry. I think that the year is 2010. I'm not just create the exhibition only. At that time, I have a suggestion and a proposal to artistry, the management. I would like to have a long time to go into the secondary school and university to create some workshop for this new generation. And they asked me why I think I need to create a lot of workshop is so important. Because I would like to tell the whole story, what I know about Uncle Choi to the new generation. So all the students will make use of this kind of resources and material being their creation to do their artwork. Because at that time, I'm not just only use the huge space to show up all the physical work with kings only. I would like to let the children and the new generation to create their own artwork through they know the story and even though a different kind of the small things to inspire their thinking. So this is why I create all the exhibition, not just only King of Kowloon. I did a lot of workshops. I spent 9 months go into the secondary school and university. Actually, it's weekly. It's quite a heavy work for me. So after I told the story in detail, every student may be inspired by different kind of the material and the resources, maybe just one script, what I told them. So they will make use of this material and resources to create some of the very, very interesting and amazing work. So at the same time, we show up at the same place to echo the King of Kowloon physical work. So this is what I really want to do it sustainably.
Thank you. So next, I'm going to loop in Hillary for the conversation. But before that, I want to show, and this is relevant to our main topic for the day. Before you met the King of Kowloon, actually you were quite an accomplished artist yourself. You have curated a number of things. So for you as an artist, also as a content creator, and you actually work in the film industry. There is a picture, not sure everyone can see, of you at the younger self. That's for all the other stuff you have done, including around the region and as a graphic, but you also as a collector. I think this is where we talked briefly. How did you get into the part of collecting arts and being a collector? And there's toys and there's other collectibles, and is that right? You have one of the largest collection of stationery in Asia. And stationery, for those who don't know, it's like pens and pencils and pencil sharpener and all the little things that we treasure when we're growing up. But that's a whole different story. There's so much to unpack, and we talk about pop arts, and you also have a large collection of comics and the stationery we talked about. And we're going to come back to this a bit and on the collection, because Hillary is the one kind of connects us all and be able to say what exactly the role of a curator. So you have been in this business for some 20 years, and you must started really, really young. But from work from Hong Kong to China and now internationally, tell us what has changed, and as your career growth and evolved, what has changed in Hong Kong for art curation?
It's quite a big topic, but I'm not going to do a lecture here. So,
Okay, I think, yes. Yeah, I think it's on. Keep talking and we can see how that goes. But just to let you know, she has done quite a bit of work on the bottom, which we're going to get into a little bit. Yeah? You okay?
So I guess in this industry for quite a long time, I think before year 2000, the Hong Kong, art scene was basically more in just selling unique antique artworks, because from the historical background. And all the, in the 1970s, I think major auction houses established in Hong Kong. So it's more likely, antique traditional artwork selling, market. And then after the year 2000, I think the Hong Kong government has, done a bit more, established more, museums and art centers, and we have like institutions provide more, education, courses for the people and for the students. So it's shift from, traditional art to more contemporary art after year 2000. And the major art fair like Art Basel came to town, and it let us become an international art hub, especially within the Asia market. Yes.
Okay. So maybe you can explain a little bit about the ecosystem or the value chain for those who are not in the art business. You have, if I'm correct in assuming there is the creators, the artists, and you have the art promoters or agent, and then you have the curator like yourself, and then you have the gallery owners, the outlets where they can showcase and publish. And of course, there are different players from governments, museums to private museums and galleries of all. What role do you play, and what role do you see yourself, and from the beginning and now, where are you right now?
I think in the past, for a creator, business, we focus more on the artists, rely on the artists, and we create the exhibition for the artists. So, but nowadays, I think the curation business has changed, and as a curator, we, my team and our chief curator, Willie, we try to create our own contents instead of promoting a single artist. So we create new contents, and especially nowadays, very popular is the commercial curation. We create, exhibitions for brands. We any kinds of, luxury brands, they try to, present their products or their, company in an exhibition way. So this is a new model and new way of business in the curation business. Mm-hmm.
So take us through, you mentioned the year 2000, mm-hmm. and you also work in China. Where mm-hmm. did the China art scene came in relevancy to for Hong Kong? There were a lot more people opening gallery in China mm-hmm. at some point, right? And really you were also exhibiting King of Kowloon work in China as well. So from your perspective, when did the whole greater China market open up? Or it always been there, but really took off?
About this question, I think nowadays in mainland China is totally different for the past 10 years. Of course, after they open up to the world, especially just here we said that the changes from fine art market to contemporary art market. I remember about 20 years before, in the art industry, most of people just talking about the fine art. But, well, all the fine art piece is very limited. It's going to a very high prices, incredible. It's not usually people and collector can got it. So that's why very smart the financial people to create a contemporary art market. Because what's mean of contemporary? Most of the people, they still there, and the new generation, they can still keep to create their work, and then to increase the value in the market with 10 year, 20 year, and more and more. So I think this is the very important change, and the need they create the market. That's it. It's about demand and supply.
So I want to go back to Hillary, and given what as a creator and you talk about from a curator, you actually become a content creator and creating your show based and drive the market in some. Can you give examples and you share a bit with the Da Vinci show or other things, and you just came back from Europe signing one of the major deals. So tell us about that part, how now you become a driver of your own show.
Okay, because of the new generation, we focus a lot on the creativity, and try to make along everything with the STEAM education that nowadays most parents concerned about. And so we create new content for Da Vinci exhibition with a scholar in Italy, Professor Mario today, and like for the continuous past 3 years. It's doing a very good time for us to focus on our work during the pandemic. And we are not trying to just talk about how great Da Vinci is and of his, invention machines, but we also, focus on the, how he was inspired, for creating those machines. So we link up a new approach of Asian Chinese technology together with the Da Vinci, inventions. So we create a new content with the scholar, professor today, and Willie also. We do a lot of research on the Asian Chinese technology that combines together the new exhibition content.
So it sounds like you shared a bit before, and the glimpse under the tent for something like that would be connecting East-West. You were able to discover the content, the connections between Chinese culture or the East culture, and be able to connect with shows like that, and also integrating a STEAM education into this show,
Yes.
and therefore you create a new market.
Yes,
Wow,
we
okay.
separate the contents into 5 sessions, like science, technology, art, mathematics, and engineering. So we study a lot of the machines that Leonardo da Vinci created, and we allocated them in a understandable approach for the students.
Okay, tell us about this. Obviously, you're going to be taking this on a global tour. Would it ever come to Hong Kong now?
Yes, definitely. We will have our first show in Macau next year, and then we will start traveling around Hong Kong and in China cities, and then step out to Asia or the other markets.
About your question, this is we would do it in Hong Kong. So actually, we did one in 2019 in Olympic City. So at that time, it's a Da Vinci 500 anniversary. We got this license from Italy museum. So afterward, we did this exhibition. We got a huge success. We got 29 awards in Asia market. So that's the reason why we really want to go deeply to study about the whole Renaissance, not just Renaissance culture. It's about the global culture, especially in mainland China. So we did a lot of the research to try to echo why at that time Da Vinci had this strange thinking and amazing thinking. So after we talk about to Professor Mario Taddei in Italy, we have aligned the same thinking. We would like to create a brand new exhibition to the world, not just telling the story in Renaissance. It's talking about Renaissance and Asian China. So this is our new content.
Fantastic. So before I open questions to the floor, I'm going to ask one, what's the deal with this cat? And so this picture is quite interesting and attracting anyone who walk by now at the downstairs at the main launch, and there's an introduction of that, but there's no mention of the cat. So I also know you are quite a cat rescuer persons. You go out at nights and actually go and volunteer your time out of your busy schedule and different things. But just on that picture, tell us what's the story behind that.
Okay. This white cat, the name is named Silver. He got an odd eye. So I adopted him in 2016. This is the time I opened my personal stationery museum, which is in St. Paul, just a 3,000 square feet industry area. So at that time, I want to create a name for my stationery shop. So I think I would like to use my cat as my shop name. So I call the museum name is a Silver Stationery. And so afterward, and I create another photography studio. It's a really vintage photography studio, also called the Silver Studio. So it is come a series. So this is my CEO actually. Yeah.
So there you have it. So I would like to open the questions to the floor. If anyone would like to have, we will have mics for you. And meanwhile, we're going to go back to a bit on your collections. And you mentioned about stationery. If anyone interest in it, I kind of fascinated by the fact about the stationery. Why stationery?
Why stationery? In 2016, because every time I'm going to write to publish the book under my collection, I will build a real physical spaces. This is my second book. My first book is talking about the old Hong Kong photography studio. So at that time, I rebuilt to restructure a real physical photography studio in Kwun Tong. So I would like to enter the whole atmosphere and environment to writing all my book. So the second project of the stationery shop, which is also is because I need to write my second book, is talking about stationery history and all the industrial design. Actually, it's related to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and arts, all including.
So-
Actually, my third book is talking about the local educational textbook. Actually, my collection is from Song Dynasty to nowadays. So my first book, I create a whole classroom. So I, being a student, I'm writing this book on the classroom table. So I'm quite enjoy to build this kind of the physical pop-up store, I say, because my occupation before is art direction of the movie and cinema. So I really enjoy to start from zero, everything start from zero. Then when I build up the atmosphere, I can do my thing and research to write every single stuff more than 20 hours in a single days.
Please feel free to ask questions. Raise your hand. We're going to get the mic to you. I want to ask Hillary on STEAM. If you say you're going to bring it to Hong Kong, who are some of the audience target? Obviously, people going there, but who would be the partners in Hong Kong? As you know, space is limited, and where would you put it if exhibitions with all that? So tell us about it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Hong Kong, we seriously we have limited exhibition space, and it's very hard to do an exhibition in Hong Kong. But we are working in a commercial way. So we will work with property developers, and we will do it in a shopping mall, centers and stuff like that.
I see. So that is something that's been proven. There you go in different shopping center. There is also always pop-up exhibition.
Yes.
But the scale of it, if you involve, see some workshops and actual thing, is that just limited to weekends where children will do, or is there any links to institution, research, and other things in the Hong Kong or around the world?
We are trying to set up a museum-like learning center. We have a museum settings in that learning center, but not in Hong Kong. We are setting up it in China. So we have our investor, the Sunwell Group, to invest together for this museum-like learning center. So this center will be a new approach for learning, entertainment learning. So we hope to teach the students through playing, not very traditional learning centers. So it's a museum-like setting. So you will see Da Vinci machines are in the center, and then each corner is also a learning space. So the students can just sit down and touch and learn about that machine, how it works, what's the science knowledge behind, and then they have a hands-on workshops to do with, you can see the machine toys we are producing. So it's a complete, STEAM courses.
So, yeah.
Actually, we have 6 sessions, not just only STEAM. So that's why our program is, which called STEAM Plus. Yes, it's much more than what you are knowing. So that's the STEAM Plus. That's the meaning we can create a huge resources for sustainability. This is very important for us and to all the guys.
Okay. Thank you. Going back to about the art scene and Hong Kong as an art hub, what do you see will be the next wave, and what's the latest trend now? If we look at next year when Art Basel comes back to Hong Kong, what would you see that's different from the past?
I think we have more focus on local artists. So yeah, every places in the world, when the art fairs comes in, local artists, being recognized. And of course, the digital, art world is also a popular trend. And so how we can, promote, art through traditional art or digital art, we have many new approaches. So new artists, digital artists, all around.
Interesting. So digital art fair.
Yeah,
Digital art fair, there's already happening.
Yeah.
Again, raise your hand if you have any questions and we'll get the mic to you. Continuing on, want to go back to a bit about your career. So 20 years and you got your degree in St. Martin's. And so how does that education, for those who are watching online or will be watching the recording, want to be a curator, how does someone get into the business? Do they really need to go to the art school and then actually go intern and go to traditional career development? How did you get in
Okay.
the business?
Okay, of course, you're going to school, you can learn, basic knowledge or the history part or the background of the industry. But I think for nowadays, the trend's changing so fast, so we have to be, really hands-on experience. I think most of the courses that happen, offering right now, not really, offer hands-on experience.
Practical experience.
Yeah, practical experience. How to, when you set up an exhibition, you have a lot of lighting, all that kinds of things, that knowledge that you need to learn through practical experience, but not in the classroom. And this is why, we are talking to some universities in Hong Kong that we are trying to provide practical creating courses in Hong Kong. So we are trying to, get some time from Willie together and set up some courses in Hong Kong.
And Willie, are you still teaching in the Arts Academy, or how do you pass on your skill and trade to the next generation?
I think the most easy way is just let them to join to create the exhibition with us. So they will know every little details, and I think the most important is they need to know how to phrase to the problem and how to solve the problem. This is why creativity is so important. And also this is also an objective why now at the global need the STEAM education, and what we want to create the STEAM plus education is about the creativity, is about the ability to everyone. They can solve the problem issue no matter what kind of industry.
So for those who are interested in it, to get into the curation business can definitely learn from your career track and how it evolved from a traditional.
There's one special, about our Da Vinci exhibition launching next year. We will recruit students and teenagers and young people together to create one of the most biggest original Da Vinci machines in the world in the exhibition. So while we're launching, we will also launch the models. So we will apply the Genius record in the world on the day when we have our opening. So starting
Guinness
from
records
next year,
in the
Guinness
world.
record.
Wow.
So next year, I think we will recruit a lot of young people in the industry.
Fantastic. So with that, I'm going to ask if there's any more question. I'm going to ask the last round of question, and we're going to close the session. So for those who don't know, King of Kowloon, there is 1 year, was that 2 years ago? There is a rediscovery of his work, and you were featured on the TV. And so if someone in the audience online want to see his work, where's the quickest way? Can you point to a few locations, and for those who haven't seen it, and go see it live and then even touch it maybe? So what would be the closest and the most visible work of King of Kowloon?
I think I will keep this secret because I'm quite sure this is not the right timing. Why I say that? Because I would like to have some more action. So nowadays, up to this moment, I still keep protect to preserve all the physical work in the public space. Actually,
And we can tell you there are, more than 30
yeah, yeah,
words
Okay.
happening in the public,
still in the public space.
but it's hiding.
Yeah, but I really want in coming 5 years, I can open the list and everyone can go to visit. But I need some alignment with the different department with the Hong Kong government. Otherwise, when I show up, the location may be different department, whatever, they will bring it over again and again. So I'm quite sure now is not the right time. Yeah.
But there is across the bay, the harbor, actually in TST, there is something preserved. And was that your work or the government actually went out and
Yeah.
recognized it and
Okay.
encasing it?
This is one of the results when we do some action in 2009. We're going to Star Ferry, Causeway Bay, every location to doing some recruitment of this Hong Kong citizen. They sign up their name to support us to preserve all the physical public space with the King of Kowloon at that time. So nowadays we have 2 locations preserved by officially preserved by Hong Kong government. One is in Chai Hong, the other one which is in TST. So that's all. So afterward we gave a list to the government. We still have a lot of need to preserve. Of course, they have a lot of different kind of skill. To us, it is hard to protect. This is hard to preserve. A different kind of the environment issue, humidity, blah blah blah. So I decided to preserve them by myself. So I keep to maintenance for the past 15 years. So every year I will tear off and to make sure the condition still is very good. And if some I need to amend or need to do some issue on top of it, I must be do it at the very quick reaction to do my preserve works. So nowadays we still have 30 different locations. It's a huge group, not a small pieces. Yeah. So my crew have documentary all my action in my past 10 years. So sometimes in some art basel or some digital art fair, I will show this kind of video to the public to let them know, actually still there, but not the right time to disclose.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to thank both. Anything you would like to add? Thank both guests who have shared their insight, the story behind the story, and you're welcome to continue to stay and talk to our panelists and outstanding guests. And so let's give a round of applause to both Willie and
Thank you.
Hillary.